He works in a country which is believed to be the most unsafe. At the same time, on one hand, it is located between the South and Central Asia, and on the other hand, the Middle East. This state plays an important role in the economic, political, and cultural ties between the countries of the region. Helping to preserve, develop, and strengthen these relations is the main task of our today's hero. Realizing the importance of his mission, he says, "It is difficult, but necessary to work." So get acquainted, our extraordinary and plenipotentiary ambassador of Kazakhstan to the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, Omirtai Bitimov. I will say that it's not my first time in the country. My first trip was in the 1980s. At the time, they had Soviet presence over there. On the second trip, I was there when the Soviet troops at the time were actually leaving. I was there. Then I stayed there for another 3.5 years after the collapse of the Union. And now this time, I have been there for another 4 years. I was prepared. I'm an expert in this country. In Turkey, I worked twice. Therefore, I can compare. The situation is very complicated, contradictory, but there is also a change in dynamics. You can't say that things remain the same, because how it was 30 years ago and today is a big difference. People have changed and the world has changed. Changes that are now present, what they have achieved. For the first time in the history of Afghanistan, the transfer of power was done peacefully. From Hamid Karzai, who spent 2 terms as the president. Prior to that, in Afghanistan, all previous leaders were overthrown by force. Currently, Afghanistan has government of national unity, although they are given the unity with difficulty. But most importantly, they do not fight with each other. Now the main threat, terrorism, and the rest can and must be solved by political means, peacefully, and Kazakhstan actively supports that.
Политическим путем, мирным путем, что и поддерживает Казахстан активно.
If Afghanistan will remain a hotbed of instability, the lives of its neighbors in this case is likely to be a little more quiet. The main guarantor is that our foreign policy is peace-loving. We have good relations with all countries. We do not have antagonisms in this regard. And it is the main guarantor, of course. Kazakhstan sees the strengthening of peace in Afghanistan should be done through an increase in literacy. Due to the unstable situation in the country, little attention was paid to education. Due to this, most of the residents of the country don't have one.
Что касается образовательной программы нашей, она в 2009 году была подписана по инициативе.
With regard to our educational program, it was signed in 2009. It was signed on the initiative of our head of state. It was designed for 10 years, training 1,000 Afghan specialists in various fields at the highest level. There are already about 200 people have completed the training, including police officers, border guards. Medical academy training continues as well. It is a 7-year education on average. The rest, the engineers, international affairs, have completed. They returned and have already begun to work in Afghanistan. We believe that those who have been trained in Kazakhstan never joined the terrorist ranks. They themselves will be active fighters against terrorism, extremism, drug production growth.
Мы уверены, те, кто у нас в Казахстане обучались, никогда в террористические ряды не пойдут, и они сами будут активными борцами против терроризма, экстремизма, роста наркопроизводства.
According to various estimates, in Afghanistan, it is now home to over 30 million people. It is a serious enough market for the manufacturers of our country. For its conquest, the Kazakh side organizes trade missions to Afghanistan.
Мы недавно провели в Афганистане форум.
We recently held a forum in Afghanistan, the Business Forum. We brought a large group from a number of regions and the atomic end. Kazakhstan opened a trading house in Kabul. This has opened much more opportunities because our businessmen left convinced that it is possible to work there.
И это открыло возможности намного больше, потому что наши бизнесмены выехали, убедились, что, оказывается, можно работать там. Теперь планируется открытие торгового дома.
Now the opening of Trade Center in Almaty is planned. It will be done by Afghanistan side this time. We carried our exhibition of goods and products, and now we plan to have a permanent exhibition in Kabul based on Afghanistan Expo Center.
На базе Афганистан Экспо-центра. Очень большая заинтересованность в медицинском, не только оборудовании, вот.
They have a great interest in medical, not only equipment but also the means, the medicines themselves. The country is big, they cannot buy it from abroad. The metal ore, white, black ore from Kazakhstan. Oil, sunflower oil, not only but also other oils. Rice is also supplied. For the price they like our goods.
Это жесть разная, белая, черная жесть из Казахстана. Потом масло не только подсолнечное, другие масла еще тоже. Рис тоже поставлялся по цене, подходят наши товары традиционно. Наши производимые товары в Афганистане востребованы.
Our products are in demand in Afghanistan. Flour products, flour, grain, metals and other products, which can be difficult to be promoted to other markets. I mean the European or Chinese, but in Afghanistan they are needed. Turnover is within $300 million that we supply. To Afghanistan, it is a very small number, within 2 to 3 million, because the reserves are not used yet.
Миллионов долларов мы поставляем, а Афганистан очень мало, в пределах 2-3 миллионов, потому что у них еще не, я думаю, что не использованы еще резервы. Хотел бы отметить, что вот этот рынок, большой рынок, какая бы война ни шла,
I would like to note that this is a great market, no matter how the war went. And in the Soviet period, and thereafter, when there was a civil war, then the Taliban, our products were always in demand. They fought among themselves, but flour, grains were always needed. Even in that period, they have bought a lot. I think that there is a big scope for increasing trade.
Они у нас очень много закупали. Думаю, что резервы для увеличения товарооборота есть большие.
The main difficulty in establishing trade and economic relations between Kazakhstan and Afghanistan is a matter of logistics. It is hard to carry out the delivery to the country, and throughout its territory it is also quite difficult, because the infrastructure is poorly developed.
С точки зрения безопасности хорошо, что
From a security standpoint, it is good. That we have limits in terms of trade, it is very unfortunate. That we have no direct border, because between us there is a number of countries. This also requires coordination, transit passes, and so on.
транзита, пропуска и так далее.
As a transit country, Afghanistan is important not only for Kazakhstan, but also for the whole region. Launch of new infrastructure projects, such as railways from Turkmenistan to Afghanistan, from Tajikistan to Afghanistan, will allow the Central Asian countries to move closer to the warm seas.
С точки зрения транзита, Афганистан для
In
нас
terms of transit, Afghanistan is very important for us. The path to the Indian Ocean is the shortest through Iran and Afghanistan. Therefore, here we have our direct economic trade interests.
То есть наши прямые здесь экономические торговые интересы.
Afghani representatives are also interested in the investment market of Kazakhstan. Entrepreneurs in Afghanistan have, though not large, but still some investment opportunities, and Kazakhstan attracts them in the respect of its stability.
Деньги большие имеются у многих частных.
Money is great. There are many private entrepreneurs. They carried out projects to build objects, build roads. This made millions. And now, after the withdrawal of coalition on offer, possibilities are limited in the country at home. Of course, they are interested to place their money in other countries.
Ограниченные в стране у себя, конечно, они заинтересованы размещать свои деньги в других более, так скажем, странах. В последнее время из стран региона.
In recent years, the countries of the region have chosen our country. We have a great appeal. We asked for advice on where it is the best way to invest in our country, in what kind of project. We're not only limited to trade. Our country is attractive for its stability, good investment climate and other features.
Наша страна привлекает своей стабильностью, хорошим инвестиционным климатом, другими возможностями. Всех афганцев под одну гребенку грести нельзя. Они не все террористы, не все
You
экстремисты.
cannot lump all Afghans together. They are not all terrorists. They are not all extremists. Not at all. And they are not drug producers. The majority of them are honest. They are involved in trade. They want development for their country and for their business.
Бизнеса. Интерес к нашей стране очень большой. Привлекает, конечно,
Their interest in our country is very high. Of course, because we're open, we're free. We do not have restrictions on movement, restrictions on currency, and other issues. So let's say our regime is not as strict as theirs.
и вопросы, так скажем, режим не такой строгий.
Many Afghans would like to see their future in friendship with our country, being interested in the Kazakh model of inter-ethnic consent. They see all of its importance and significance.
Исторически так сложилось, что нет преобладающего явного.
Historically, there is no clear dominant of the ethnic group. There are many ethnic groups. This above all Pashtuns, Tajiks, Hazars, Uzbeks, Turkmens, Aymak people, Kazilbash Turks, many other. And also a very large variation in religious terms.
Народов. И в религиозном плане тоже разброс очень большой. Вот. Ну, преобладающее, конечно, число это мусульмане.
The overwhelming number, of course, are the Muslims of different directions. I have already said that all profess one Islam, but there is at the same time about 20 different directions and a total of 150 registered parties.
Со словом «ислам» около 20, а так в целом 150 партий зарегистрировано там.
Only by raising the level of education, economic recovery, and the improvement of people's well-being, one can hope to strengthen stability in the country. All this is interconnected processes. To believe that solution to the problems is armed forces is a utopian option.
Мы все начинания в области урегулирования афганского регулирования.
We support all undertakings in the Afghan peace settlement at various levels. And we believe that this is also the key to our success. Because if you will continue the war in Afghanistan, and if Afghanistan will continue to be a hotbed of instability, a source of terrorism, extremism, this will cost us even more. We regularly assist humanitarian aid, the educational program, our diplomatic efforts at large. And personally, President Nursultan Nazarbayev sees a great importance in the settlement of the Afghan issue.
Назарбаев придает очень большое значение урегулированию афганского вопроса.